And just like that, it's April 30th. Where did the time go? Let me explain. Welcome to the Simply Jamila podcast. Hey! It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I missed you. I am so sorry. And I will dive so far deep into everything. It's been a great, crazy, emotional, interesting time, a time of absolute growth for sure. Also, I feel like I haven't said it. My name's Jamila, although I'm assuming you could maybe gather that from the fact that I'm a single person sitting in an office with two brown doors surrounding me, talking into a microphone, wearing a hat inside as the sun sets. I'm coming back and I am an absolute mess in the process, and it just feels very on brand. It's very fitting for me, but I'm happy to be here. Welcome again to the podcast. I have missed you. I am so happy, and I really like everything in me when I came back for like this season of the podcast. I was like trying my hardest to be intentional about recording every week, and then we had the like situation that was February where I didn't know what was going on with my mic, and then we had March, which I think I did okay in March, and then we had April. And I will explain April now, which I kind of like warned that I was at least going to miss a week at the beginning of April because I was going to be like heading to Seattle. But then a lot more happened. When I say life has been lifing this April, but in a way that I can handle it, we got to get into it. But before we get into it, I always have to share some good news. And even though the good news I have to share is old, I feel like we have to remember the good, especially because I can't think of anything, at least nationwide, like good that's happened, you know? So let me remind you of one thing. Let me remind you of that like Artemis moon journey space mission. It's Artemis the second, I believe. It was a 10-day mission that sent 4 astronauts on a flight in a spaceship, in a rocket. I said in a spaceship. Oh my goodness, they are not aliens. Oh my goodness, but they went into space in a rocket on a flight around the moon. And it was a very big deal for many reasons. I mean, the entire mission from start to finish, there was a lot more women in the room this go around, and therefore there was perfection, especially in the landing, like landing perfectly on time with the schedule in the exact position that they needed to have like landed in the body of water that they landed in. Like women, we sat here, we ate it up, we did the math, and they all made it home safely. Beyond that, or not even beyond that, like let's take a moment for that. But with that, shall you say, there's also some history made with this. You want to talk about women? This crew of 4 people included the first woman to orbit the moon, Christina. I don't know how to say her last name, so I'm not even going to try. And the first black man to ever go in space, which is Victor Glover, who's actually the pilot. So a lot of history was made with this, and just the overall success of the mission, the beautiful photographs. Oh my goodness, the photographs that they acquired while they were in space. I mean, truly amazing. I think what people loved so much about it and why it's just considered such a great thing is it just gave a lot of hope. And what we need now, especially as Americans, is hope. So thank you to those 4 astronauts for honestly risking your lives, and for everyone in the, what do we call the control room, I guess, for making sure that this mission was a success. Like I said, that's the only bit of good news I have. I mean, minus the fact that when this episode's going up, I'm done with my second semester, therefore first traditional school year of my master's degree. So like, that's pretty exciting. I have time now. That's exciting, because guess what I'm not doing anymore? I'm not bringing work home with me, which I stopped doing a long time ago. But I mean, between doing that and then finishing this like master's program, at least the first year, it's amazing. And I was going to do summer classes, but then I saw the price and I communicated with my friend, and they don't do a like payment plan for summer classes. And I said, well, I'm not going to pay this price no, not in the summer. So I just went ahead and nixed it, and we'll keep figuring things out. There's other classes that I can take at least in the fall, and we'll just keep working through it. But the first year is done. So if we have to like talk about personal good news, that is it. I am done. I am so happy. I had 2 professors in 3 classes. So I had one person teaching 2 classes, but overall they've been pretty like good. They've been pretty good. One professor for a class, even though she hasn't been great with grading, like she hasn't been great with grading at all, she has created or allowed for an extension on the final project. But I mean, which is great for people who hadn't finished it, even though it literally is just a compilation of all the assignments that we've done. But I think why people are so like about it is because she hasn't graded all of the assignments that we've done. So we're gonna make a compilation of those assignments and then not know if they're correct or not because you haven't graded for most of the semester, and then you realized, oh, we're at the end of April, let me lock in. Yeah. And then my other professor's just really cool. I like him. I like him a lot. We had to do these like surveys for our professors. I raved about him. I love that man, and I wish he could teach all of my classes. I really do. But oh well. Off of the side tangent about me and school and finishing, let's get into what this episode is all about. As I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna like record an episode and have it go up last day of the month. Like what would be a great title for it that really just encompasses everything that I'm going to talk about? And when I think about like April and where the time went, the word that kept coming to mind is far, but like in different interpretations. Okay. I like really stretched it out a little bit to make it make sense, but like, I mean, listen, I'm fine with it. I think far is a good word to describe the month, and not only like the reasons for why I didn't record, but just all of the growth, the cost of my car renewal tags were far from what I thought they were going to be. Still almost $200. And like one week I missed recording the podcast because guess what? My camera was far. You see what I'm doing here? No. My friend needed to borrow my camera, and I had no qualms about, I mean, I love you guys. I love recording this podcast. It does a lot for me and my growth because, I see like a therapist every week, but I also sometimes not even sometimes, most of the time I like don't really lock in on the things that'll help me grow personally. It's more of I talk about things that make me like angry and frustrated. Sometimes I do learn about myself if the emotions are just too extreme for me to like ignore. But a lot of the time when I'm learning about myself or figuring myself out, it's with this podcast, whether someone is or isn't watching or listening or whatever the case may be. But to bring it back, I had no qualms about sacrificing an episode of this podcast for a week so my friend could do what she needed to do with my camera, and I hope it worked out for her. We kind of talked about it because, fun fact, I am actually recording this episode with the same camera that I use for my vlogs, and it's very much so a vlogger camera. It is the Digi Osmo Pocket, the original one. I fully hope at least to buy a newer camera, like an actual camera, but there's just a couple that I have in mind. I need to do more research because I wasn't fully happy with my Sony the way that I want it to be, and I don't know, I just need to figure out like the correct camera setup for me. But for now, holding this microphone and recording on a separate software and then using my Digi for the visuals, I mean, I'm good with it. And as far as vlogging with my Digi goes, I love it. She's great. She's doing a really good job. And then another week, I missed the podcast because I couldn't move far. Here's that word again. From my toilet. Yes, I had a horrendous stomach bug. I mean, it was horrible. And what I thought was so not beautiful, that's not the right word, but what I thought was like kind of funny about it is like when I was sick, someone that I consider a friend was also sick in a completely different state. So but like what they were sick with was different for me. I feel bad. Let me tell you this, because I work with little kids for my second job, and there was one child that kept saying like her stomach was hurting, and I was just like, I'm sorry. Like I don't know what you want me to do. But then she kept saying it. And she's someone that, with this particular after school program, is not there for like long periods of time. So it's kind of like, that's kind of her code word for I want to go home. Where is my mother? And not necessarily saying her stomach hurts, but just anything hurting is code for I want to leave. And she's a kid that will sit there and say something over and over and over again. Like today, we feed them snack, and then she comes up to me and she's like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, okay, well, you've already eaten, but I'm still hungry. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to eat dinner at home, but I'm still hungry. Girl, tell me you're hungry one more time. However, when she was saying that her stomach was hurting, I should have listened to her, because I believe she got the stomach bug and then I got it from her. If I didn't get it from her, then I got it from someone at the high school I work at who also had previously had it, like recently-ish to when I got it. But it was horrible. Like, the first day, I literally just I emailed everyone that I had to email, and I was like, something's wrong with my digestive system, as in I was not getting off the floor, like outside of my bathroom. I mean, I would make it to the toilet, but I would like not to get, too into it or whatever, but I would like make it to the toilet. So it wasn't horrible, but it was just really bad. And then it got so bad. This is when I was like, okay, I can't record the podcast. I had, not to be disgusting, I had thrown up so much that my throat was super raw and scratchy, and so I didn't have a voice for like 2.5 days. It was really bad. So I missed a week because I couldn't move far from my toilet. We became very close friends. Clover was very confused the entire time, and I still had assignments to do, so I was like trying to push through. Like, I, again, love my male professor that I had this semester. He gave us the option to like use an extension, and I was trying super hard not to. So I was like, we're going to power through, and we're going to make this happen. Like, we have to get this like done. So I was like trying to do homework, and I felt like I was literally having the insides just ripped out of me. And then, which I feel like this one makes more sense, okay? And then I missed a couple of weeks because I was physically far from home. Why did I sing it? I don't know. So let's get into it. So the last episode that I put up, it was the one towards the end of March, and I said that I was going to miss the following week because I was going to Seattle. My flight to Seattle left super early on, okay, actually, it didn't even leave. Let me, it was supposed to leave at like 8 a.m. on that Thursday, but this was happening around the time when I believe I had like left right when everything got figured out with, I think it's the Department of Homeland Security, I want to say, where like TSA workers may or may not have been going back, and things got like halfway figured out with that, if you remember and know what I'm talking about. And so but I wanted to be safe. However, I don't live near the airport. So I left my home at 2:30 a.m. to make the almost 2-hour drive to the airport here in North Carolina. And then I took the shuttle to go to the airport because I didn't know. And crazily enough, yeah, it's just crazy. It's not even funny. It's crazy. The day before this flight, the terminal that I was going to at the airport had to have been evacuated because of a bomb threat. So I really wanted to make sure I had enough time to get there in case something crazy happened. Granted, the craziest thing that happened is that I got in the shuttle at the airport got in the shuttle at the hotel to go to the airport. And when I got in the shuttle, my flight had been moved from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Well, then I'm like freaking out because I had a layover in Chicago that's supposed to take me from Chicago to Seattle, and the way my like delay, it messed up the layover basically. And so when I got to the desk at Southwest, because that's who I flew with, the lady was like, actually, but I guess between you getting in the shuttle at the hotel to you making it to the airport, which was like literally a 10-minute drive, in that time my flight got delayed all the way to 6 p.m. And I was like, okay, do I just go back home or do I just sit in this airport all day? But that wonderful, and I will forever rave about her. I talked about her on Threads because I loved this woman. Her name is Laura. I did a horrible job of describing her. She's a black woman with really, like really, really short, like wavy, basically blonde hair. She had glasses on. She was fantastic. I think she had a facial piercing. She was amazing. Love this woman. She was like, I think I got you on an earlier flight. I said, oh, say less. And she put me on a flight to Denver and then from Denver to Seattle. And when she said earlier flight, she meant 5 a.m. She said, I'm going to make your drive worth it. You got up at 2 in the morning. I'm going to make it worth it. So I had a little situation with TSA because I was trying to like not go through the maze. Like there was no one in line. Let me duck under the lines, like the ropes or whatever. But then the guy, he made it a whole thing. It was stupid. But I was trying to get through TSA fast because, again, I had no idea what it looked like. With the way the airport's set up, we couldn't see TSA. And I didn't know what it looked like. I was kind of freaking out because I was like, okay, you booked me on a 5 a.m. flight that started boarding at 4:30, and I found out at 4:45. Oh, but fortunately, I made it. I made it. That's all I can say. And then I made it from Denver to Seattle, and it was great. I got there a lot earlier than I anticipated, and I couldn't check into my Airbnb. So that was interesting, and just kind of like trying to figure out where to eat. I think the biggest challenge that I had with this entire thing is that because I was only going to be in Seattle for 48 hours, I didn't pack like a traditional carry-on. Like I have a backpack, and it's a Herschel backpack. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to pack my giant Herschel backpack with stuff, and that'll be my carry-on. I was not physically prepared for what that would do to my back. Destroyed the crap out of my back. My shoulders still hurt. I'm so serious. But it probably is also because I'm sitting with very bad posture at the moment. Yeah, part of the difficulty that I think I just had with trying to figure out where to go is like I just have this really giant backpack stuffed to the brim. And a lot of the places that I was trying to go to, I guess were super popular, which makes sense, and had lines coming out the door. But I was just trying to eat. Girl, I was literally just trying to eat. I eventually found a restaurant that apparently normally is super like popular and you can't get inside. However, there was no one there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna eat here. I'm gonna chill here for a little bit. I vlogged the Seattle trip, and it's gonna go up not long after this podcast episode goes up because I am so excited about like just Seattle and how it turned out, just the overall trip. I'd never been there before, and it was so fun for me. Of course I got lost. Like, hello, of course I got lost. But I didn't get lost in the way that I thought that I would. I got lost trying to find a park. And yeah, the entire time that I was in Seattle, I was reading Honey and Spice by Bolu Babalola, and I understand why the girls like that book. I do get it, but I'm gonna be that person that's like, it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I'm not even going to say I'm sorry because I'm not sorry. And then I found a copy of Sweet Heat, I believe is the second one. And she changed it because it's a UK writer, I believe. And so she changed it from using like traditional American quotation marks to using just an apostrophe like UK writers do. And I was about to get sent into high heaven at this bookstore because I was like, now I really don't want to read it. I wasn't feeling too good about Honey and Spice, and then you change the like way it's written as far as dialogue goes. We're done. We're done. It's a wrap. But that was the book that I read while I was there, and like I said, I didn't absolutely hate it, so I wasn't mad that I was reading an okay book, like while I was on my trip, because I get really like, I start to feel some type of way when I'm reading a bad book and I'm like traveling. It's like, please don't ruin the vibe of the trip for me. But Seattle overall was amazing. In my head, I'm like kind of figuring out when I can go back. This might sound absolutely insane. I loved the public transit. It was clean. It was very linear. So it was super easy to maneuver. And I don't know, it was just the entire like city was just easy to maneuver, whether you were downtown or on the outskirts of downtown, or I ended up kind of like in a very nature-esque part of the city, and that was easy to maneuver. The ferry was easy to maneuver. Like, it was great. And I don't know if like me not struggling to find my way around town is why people consistently were asking me where things were. Like, babe, I am a tourist too. I had never been there before. And you're asking me where Safeway is? Safeway's a grocery store, by the way. I found that out. And there was just a couple of instances where people were like asking me where things were, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't live here. But did I absolutely pull my phone to the side, Google it very quickly, and then tell them the answer? 100%. Because if I'm gonna like, I'm gonna look like I live here. If you don't think I'm a tourist, then that means I'm blending in really, really well with my giant backpack and my lightweight jacket that was doing absolutely nothing to protect me from how cold it was. Speaking of cold, I 2 weeks after I went to Seattle, so very, very recently, I was in New York. And what does that have to do with cold? Because what do you mean I'm flying out to New York on Saturday and the high is like, I think it was 60 degrees, but the day before that Friday it was 78. The temperature would decide to drop as soon as I decide, yeah, I'm going to go to New York. And it kept dropping. It kept dropping. It's it was fine. It wasn't fine. I wasn't really happy about it, but well, you know what? It is what it is. This trip to New York was different. It was my first time going to New York by myself because I'd been several times in the past, but I had always been with someone. Whereas this go around, I went by myself. And there were so many highlights. There were so many highlights. I close my eyes and see the Broadway show that I watched, which was & Juliet. And I loved it. And I open my eyes and I see the Broadway show that I watched. It was absolutely amazing. If you're in New York and you like are iffy about that one, watch it. It's a 10 out of 10 for me personally. So that was just amazing. And then I like allowed myself to explore a borough that I was just unfamiliar with. Now, I will say I regret having an Airbnb in this specific borough, but I loved exploring like Williamsburg. I loved the whole reason I went to New York was for BookCon. And BookCon itself has very negative and intense critiques online currently, if you ever want to like look it up. I understand some of the negativity. I definitely feel like they should have opened the entire building for 20,000 people. I also feel like food would have been great. Food would have been fantastic. But I also had never been to a convention before. And I had never been to BookCon, obviously, if I'd never been to a convention. So I didn't have any expectations. And I vibed. I mean, I overheated a couple times. I got overstimulated a couple times. But they had a quiet room for those purposes. I just really wish that there had been food or the option for food. That would have been great, you know? Would have loved that because we're in this building from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's raining outside. And I put my coat in coat check so I wouldn't have to carry it around, but then I'd have to pay more money if I took it out of coat check and then put it back. Why would I even do that to myself? We're just going to take the L and not go to the hot dog cart that's right outside of the building because it's raining. Anyway, what I loved after BookCon, besides just, meeting Jasmine Guillory, no big deal, is the fact that I met people who had been to BookCon. Like, I started meeting people and they were like, I'm recovering from BookCon. And I was like, girl, me too. And then we would just start this conversation about the convention. And I don't know, it was great. It was fun. I actually went to Lip Lab and the person who was making the lipstick for me, I'm actually wearing it. If you're listening to the audio of this episode, you're missing it. But I'm wearing it right now. I don't know if you can see it. It's very dark. It's very me. That's all I got is that it's very me. And I absolutely love it. But the woman who was like putting the lipstick together, her name is Aria. And I was so happy that it was just like a solo appointment. There was no one around. And we just talked about BookCon and many things the entire time. And it was fan-freaking-tastic. There was also just like amazing customer service from her as well. She was not irritated with the fact that I was like a little picky about how dark I wanted like the lipstick to be and just like making sure that it wasn't super red or super purple. I wanted it to be something that I can wear every day. Granted, me wearing it right now is the first time that I've worn it, but that's because when I got back from New York, I truly let myself go. The reason I'm wearing a hat inside, this weave needs to come out, okay? But I haven't had time to take it down. I was like, we're going to come in, we're going to get back into town, and we're going to lock in on our finals. And then afterwards, we're going to get ourselves back together again. So now that finals is over, I waxed my upper lip and feel confident wearing this lip color now. And this upcoming weekend, I will be taking my weave out. So like, we're coming back. We are making a comeback. But New York it was an interesting trip this go around. I never, and I tell everyone this, but like when I say I was so pissed off, like it touched the right part of my spirit. Like I arrived when there was a Yankees game about to happen. So like everyone from Jersey and I guess New York who had tickets or whatever, they were all going to the Yankees game. So just public transportation was really, 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 really bad when I was just trying to go like in a completely different direction from the Yankee Stadium. So it got really frustrating, very, very frustrating actually, but it led to a decent acquaintanceship. I don't know if we're acquaintances or friends, but like I met another human and we swapped contact information. Actually, I probably should respond to his text. They're just sitting there unread. They will get responded to, I promise. But I don't know. It's like anything bad or questionable that happened in New York led to something absolutely amazing. So I'm not too upset about it. I did vlog it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. But I literally went from the West Coast to the East Coast travel-wise, and it was insane. But I will say I fully hope to go back to Seattle super soon. And I looked at my old lady friend, and I was like, hey, you want to go to New York to watch a Broadway show? She said, when? And what I heard was we're going to go to New York to watch a Broadway show. And I'm so excited about it. I will literally do that and then come back. Like, give me 24, 48 hours, make it a little 48-hour trip, book a night at a hotel. Like, I would totally do that. Not just for Anne Juliet, but I believe Costin Mayer's new Broadway show, I guess they start soon. I don't remember when actually. So maybe I should save it for when Costin Mayer's, like, their Broadway show makes its debut, and then just take that 48-hour trip to like go watch a show, eat a taco, and come back. The in-between time, as far as like the episodes and the traveling and all the things, has been spent honestly showing up to work as a shell of a person. It's been really hard, but I've been like trying to make it feel and appear as if it hasn't been hard. But like, I literally know that I am being made out to be like the bad guy or like this villain. And crazily enough, what has been helping me get through are these like different quotes on like Facebook that just randomly come up. And it's just all about like, it's okay if you're the villain in someone else's story. Like, you know who you are. And actually, I can see it now because I went to the Rip Bodice, which I was so excited about. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to explore a different borough, is so I can go to the Rip Bodice. And I got a sticker, and even though I'm not wearing my glasses, I know it's over there, and I know what it says. It says, I am the protagonist of my own story. And even though it's a sticker, it's literally hanging on my wall because it has helped me. Like, it has truly helped me, because even though you, A, are supposed to be some version of a leader, and B, you are making me out to be this villain, which is really just making you look bad, I know that I am the protagonist of my story, and I know who I am. And the crazy thing is that I also own up to my mistakes, and that is where the word far comes into play with the work situation. And honestly, like truly honestly, for those of you who are tired of hearing me talk about work, first off, I'm an average American. Like, what else am I gonna do? Like, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna have a job, I have bills. Like, what do you want me to do? But also, this is gonna be the last time that I really talk about it, but I just have to share this because, again, it's my podcast, but also it just kind of helps me just go through it and process it. But I've gotten the question of, and I'm looking down at my notes, but I've gotten the question of, I thought you guys were friends. And over the course of April, the more that I've like answered that question, especially like to people who don't know how miserable I've been working with this particular person for the last year, the more I realized we had a good working relationship that I let get too far. So there's a lot to unpack with that. First off, there are people who work with me who know and who have been known how miserable I have been working with this particular person in this particular environment, but I have been doing everything I can to just keep the peace. But I was losing myself. I was losing myself so hard. It was really bad. And it didn't help being like studying to do a similar job. And then I was like, no, I don't know. We had that week of snow in February, and I was just sat there and I was like, I no, because I lost myself before, and I've watched people in my life lose themselves. Why would I continue that pattern? Let me stop. And so I fully just no. Sorry, that's all I can say is literally no. But the people who have watched me struggle and suffer and have seen the tears over the past year, I mean, nothing is a surprise to them. They knew we weren't friends, but I think because I was doing the best that I can to try to fit into a situation that honestly I shouldn't have tried to fit into, it seemed as if we were friends. And I truly tried to force something that just wasn't there. Because I do believe in theory at a specific point we were a good team at work. Sometimes you just get a vibe from people like you're gonna be in my life forever, or I want you to be in my life forever as a friend, and I never got that vibe. I think that she thought we were friends, and I genuinely apologize for contributing to that ideology, because no. And again, I let a working relationship get too far. There were like life events that I went to for her, but I shouldn't have been there. And in my brain, like, you invite your coworkers to like your kid's birthday party and like your Christmas party. Like, it's something that I like saw in movies, but what I've learned, especially with this situation, is that life is not a movie. And when I really, really look back on it, I never considered inviting her to anything. Once I started, getting invited to things that were just a little bit, I was like, wait, it's going a little too far. And I thought, maybe if I go to these things, then it'll make me like my job and working with this person more. And it just didn't. It didn't. And I'm sorry about that. Like, I really am. And I think part of why I like go into work and just am okay. May 1st is knocking on our door. And once May's done, basically, I mean, what is it? My last day is June 11th. Like, when May gets here, we're like, it's nothing. You know what I mean? So I think there's that. But then I think there's also the like inner work that I've done. This sounds so like I'm this amazing healed guru person, but no, like it's the accountability that I have taken for my part in it, because I do believe that it's a two-part thing. However, even though I'm taking accountability, does not mean that everyone involved is taking accountability, if you know what I mean. And then I think another thing that's really helped me is like, I am sorry, and I've not only, I would say I've forgiven her. I think once I am completely like done with her, like my job title no longer has any association with her, I think I will actually be able to forgive her, because the unnecessary like pettiness and attempt at micromanaging and attempt at, I don't know, snitching or complaining, whining, whatever it is, that it's just still like, so why? Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like once I get away from that, maybe I'll be able to start the process as far as like forgiving her. But more than anything, I forgive myself. And I think that's like really important. Like, when you know that you played a part in something bad happening, you have to forgive yourself. And I do. I messed up in several areas, and I have learned a lot that'll help me in my professional career as far as like working with this particular person goes, and how this particular person handled or didn't really conflict. So I do believe you can have a good working relationship with someone, but once, you feel it going too far, I think that's when the initial conversation needs to happen. And in that moment, when that conversation does happen, then maybe you can learn how that person does with communication and confrontation. Because God bless, some people just immediately resort to their email. That's something that I have really thought about over the course of April, and consistently hearing like, I thought you were friends. And I do hate that I am being villainized, but also, I mean, I'm okay with it because it just shows me what you think of my character, and we're supposed to be a team at this particular school, and so apparently we are obviously not. And that's something else that I've really learned in this experience. And it's not even picking sides. It's some people picking sides, and then just the overall lack of like, you cannot preach professionalism and this is how you're acting. So I'm just saying, I have a lot of faith and a lot of hope right now. So we'll see what happens. But all I do know is that I am not going to go back to working with this person, considering how am I supposed to work and do a job and you don't tell me what it is I need to do, but you will send a more than passive aggressive email. So yeah, I'm good. You can miss me with that. I'll just find somewhere else. Literally, with the way North Carolina's going, McDonald's paid more. I wanted to say that. I wanted to get that out because it felt really good, and it feels good to be done, And I've learned that age does not mean anything when it comes to maturity. And when, it doesn't matter if you had a child or multiple children, married, not married, you can still be incredibly immature. And I've learned that in this situation as well. It's just been a very big like learning experience. And even though I am considerably younger, I mean, there's parts of me that are just older. And I don't know. It's been a great and necessary like moment, I guess, of growth. Like I've really grown a lot in what I will and will not accept and what I know about myself. I am so proud of myself for I've been angry, but like not in the way that the person I work with has been angry, because it's been so incredibly obvious and it's a little sad, to be honest. But then also, I just haven't been angry in a way where it's like I'm going to lash out or play the game of sending a passive aggressive email or trying to like be petty on an email that our entire administrative team is on. Like I've learned that I don't have the energy for stupid stuff, and that's really what it's come down to at this point. So it's just been an overall, like, for my professional career and just what I want to do next and the people that I want around me, it has been a very good and necessary lesson. But I have more that I intend on writing about it, but in that writing, I'm going to call it a hard lesson. Because even though it's been good and it's been necessary, it hasn't been easy. And that's kind of how those things go, though. Sometimes the things that we're not looking forward to are very hard, but they are very necessary in us becoming more of who we need to be or who we are. I would like to say we're pretty far in this episode. So I'm going to wrap things up by talking about some things that I am currently consuming or have recently consumed, because the first thing, it is season 3 of ExoKitty. Guys, you lost me. I ate up season 1 and 2. I ate it up. And then you're going to give me season 3 that is so like cringy. And like, I was getting the ick when I was watching it. I was like, oh, whoa. Like I was uncomfortable watching it, and not in a way where it was like, this is too sexual. Like, obviously not. It was just too cringy. Like, it was just stop it. Get some help. Like, no, no. I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I guess in theory we could end it with season three because that, there's a cute little happy ending. But I feel like to really round it out and make it feel complete, there needs to be a season four. And that would be like her second semester of her senior year. End it with like, either end it with graduation or like end it with like a montage of what her and Minnow do over like the summer, and then like where, I don't know, they decide to go to school, where their careers take them. I don't know, something like that. Like I feel like that makes sense to truly, truly like wrap it up, and then have like a combined Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky cameo, because we got Peter in season two and we got a lot of Lara in season three. So I don't know. I feel like a season four would be great and like fully wrapping it up that way. But I also could see if they just like ended it with season three, because I don't know if you finished it. Let's talk about it, because I just cringed a lot and I was like, I don't know. I just like, I don't know. Something else that I have finished and consumed recently, I talked about Honey and Spice. I've also read In Her Own League by Liz Tomford. Bro, let's talk about this really quick. I read it for the community book club that I'm in, but that book club got so popular that it now is charging $10 a month to be a member. What? Actually, no. So I read it and I intended on going to the meeting for April, but then that meeting fell on a date when I was in New York. So I was like, crap, I can't make it. But I had already bought the book and I was like, it's a Liz Tomford book. I love Rewind It Back. I do need to read the rest of the Windy City series. Don't yell at me. I know, and I will. I was like, this one, why not? It's the book club book and it's a good author. However, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad by any means. I mean, Liz Tomford is a really good writer. I just think like, I don't know. It was just like, like I read it and it was cute. And I will say, I think my favorite thing about it is there was no third act breakup. I love, love, love when romance stories do not have that unnecessary ass third act breakup. It is so unnecessary most of the time. Like, I don't know why we feel like that's such a good formula. You don't have to have it. You literally don't have to have it. It's so unnecessary most of the time. But I liked that this book didn't have that. I don't know. I just feel like the rest of it was just so, like, I guess because it was a baseball romance. I don't know. I don't know why. For some reason, I just didn't care for it. Like, I read it and I liked, the cute happily ever after and all of the things. I will say, I understand, like, what people mean about it being a good, like, wrap up to the Windy City series. But it was just, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to read it again. But, like, I literally picked up Rewind It Back a couple of days ago to start rereading it again. Remembered that I had homework and put it down. But, like, it doesn't have the same energy as at least that book. Maybe even the rest of the Windy City series, Speaking of romance, I watched You, Me, and Tuscany with my friend. And I feel like when we finished watching it, I didn't have a lot to say. Like, I really don't think I had a lot to say compared to, like, other movies that we've watched together. But I have a lot to say now. I mean, I don't have a ton to say. Like, I'm not going to bore you to death. But I liked it. And as many of the online articles, especially those for the culture, are saying, I think it really was, like, the turnout for You, Me, and Tuscany kind of was proof that, like, hey, we need more Black films and Black romances. Like, we need to see ourselves more in this light. And I 100% agree. And I think it's so necessary. I think I was kind of hoping that we had more time to, like, build up the romance between Reggae and Hallie. Don't ask me what their characters' names were. I have no freaking idea. Couldn't tell you that at all. But I feel like there wasn't enough, like, time. Like, the storyline was great, but I just think the timing of it and the pacing of it was so weird, especially with, like, how they fell in love, unless it's like a love at first sight kind of trope. But it was just, overall, I was like, okay, guys, no. Like, I don't know, I wish there's more time. But I mean, Reggae is a man that people swoon for over the Over the screen? No, on the screen. They swoon for when they see him on the screen. And I liked how I looked at my friend and I was like, this is so obviously postpartum. Like, it was definitely Hallie after she had her baby's body. And I loved that. There was no, we're going to cinch her in and we're going to try to make her like as small as possible. Like, it was a very real woman's body. And I loved it. I loved that. And I loved her storyline and just, I really did like the way they built the characters. I do think the way they tried to make Reggae as part of the family was kind of off, and like maybe we could have placed it in the UK instead of Italy, so that way his like involvement in the family made more sense. But that's neither here or there. I liked it. It was a cute romance, and I would probably watch it again. I'm not going to lie. That is everything. Thank you for staying with me if you have, as far as like watching the sun set on my face. It's been super fun. It feels so good to be back. And I feel like, I don't know, I needed April to grow in many different ways. I needed April to explore. I needed April to destroy me financially like it does every freaking year because I have to get my freaking tags. But we have made it. We have overcome. And now we are on to May. April showers bring May flowers, and I'm a big believer in that. And so I hope that if April brought you showers in any way, that, you are now reaping the harvest. Nope, not the harvest. You're getting the flowers. We're just going to keep it simple. You're getting the flowers, okay? I need to go. I need to stop talking. Also, Clover's probably pissed off at me in the living room right now because it's almost 8 p.m. and we have not eaten dinner. So let me go feed my dog. And then I probably also should just like lay down because I have been feeling faint ever since I gave blood at 8:30 this morning. Okay, I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. I will be in your ear next week with a new episode of the Simply Jimmy podcast. Bye.